Luis Suarez in the headlines again for the wrong reasons this morning.
Yeah, I mean, controversy does tend to follow Luis Suarez around, doesn't it? I think it's fair to say if it was any other player on that pitch yesterday who'd done that handball in the build-up to Liverpool's second goal, it certainly wouldn't have attracted the attention it did. And it was unfortunate, really. I think it has been blown out of context, really, because I've seen the incident numerous times again. And the ball's come back at him off the keeper at point-blank range and has struck his hand. And I think the way he's knocked the ball into the net, he turns around sheepishly, fully expecting the referee to have blown up for handball. And I don't think Luis Suarez thought for a minute. He didn't go away celebrating the goal. It was only once the ref had indicated he'd awarded it that he kissed his wrist. And I know a lot was made of that, but all Liverpool fans will know that that's he's got his daughter's name tattooed on his wrist, and that's why that is his goal celebration every time. It certainly wasn't any kind of admission of, look, I've managed to get away with cheating it. And I think to level, obviously he went off yesterday with the words cheat, kind of ringing in his ears from the Mansfield fans, but I think that's very harsh because I think it was an instinctive thing that it struck his hand, and it's certainly not Louis. I've heard people say that Suarez should have turned around and told Andre Mariner, I handled it, disallow the goal, which is just ridiculous. And when does that happen in football? The referee's there to make a decision. There's been plenty of bad decisions that have gone against Liverpool this season. This was one that went in their favour. I think what will concern Liverpool fans more was that ultimately they needed such a controversial goal to go through against the team 93 places below them in the table. I think that was the worrying thing, because Liverpool should have been out of sight long before what turned into a very nervy finish.
Okay, and as you say, it wasn't a great result against a team that had so far beneath them, but a good start for Daniel Sturridge.
It certainly was. Yeah, it was an instant impact from the new £12 million signing. Took his goal brilliantly early on, and I thought he looked very lively. I think when you think he hadn't played any competitive football for nearly 2 months, his movement was excellent. His link-up play, especially with John Joe Shelby in the first half, caused the home side a lot of problems, and he should have probably had more goals yesterday. He missed 3 or 4 other decent chances, but I think that's to be expected when you haven't played for as long as he hasn't. That sharpness, I'm sure, will come in time, and he admitted as much afterwards. But no, he certainly relished his first the first experience of being a Liverpool player. And the one downside was the fact that Liverpool failed to build on that, because it was the perfect start and they should have been 3 or 4 up by half time, coasting. And then if that Suarez incident had happened, it would have been a footnote in the game and it would barely have been talked about, because it would have been the 5th or the 6th in a rout. But as it was, give Mansfield a lot of credit, because they hung in there, defended bravely, and in the second half they caused Liverpool a lot of problems as well. And Matt Green pulled one back with about 11 minutes to go. And in the end, it was pretty desperate and dire from Liverpool. Hacking the ball aimlessly away just to relieve the pressure in the closing stages. Brad Jones had to make a few decent saves. I thought Jamie Carragher was absolutely outstanding at the back. One of those days that the veteran defender relishes, where he puts his body on the line for the calls. And but no, I mean, at the end of the day, Liverpool got the job done. They did what they went there to do. But it was far too close for comfort. And obviously Brendan Rodgers made a lot of changes, 8 changes to the side that beat Sunderland, but there were still 8 full internationals out there, and I think it's fair to say that the fans that went down there to watch that would have expected certainly a more emphatic victory, but into the 4th round, and they've taken those first tentative steps on the long road to Wembley.